Hey FieldEdge family, Scott here, content creator of FieldEdge, and today I am honored to share the stage with my friend and colleague, Alex Menendez. Alex is a training team lead and subject matter expert here at FieldEdge and has been educating and supporting our members for 11 years. He's got something like 3,000 hours of educating, regional trainings, and one-on-one trainings under his belt. It's truly a pleasure to be chatting with him today about our upcoming regional in Atlanta, Georgia on April 16th and 17th, Thursday and Friday. Alex, Thank you for chatting with me today, brother.
Of course. Thanks for having me here. I also appreciate you doing the math for exactly how many hours I have under my belt of doing this. It's funny that you word it that way because I had to do a presentation a couple of months ago, and it's like, tell us about you. And it's really awkward. So I created a little stat card, kind of like a baseball rookie card with just like number of on-sites, number of regionals I've done. I'm now adding 3,000 plus training hours to that. So thank you very much. And thank you, of course, for having me here.
So you sent me that? You sent me that card and I was looking at it and I was like, I wonder if it would look better if I just put the hours multiplied out. So I did the math out and was like, this is easily like 3,000 plus hours, like for sure. So
and I lowballed the one. I didn't even include the chat sessions I did when we were on chat together. For those of you watching, Scott and I were on the same team for a brief period of time. It was great. I just excluded the hosts.
Alex, I know you have limited time, so let's dive into it. I guess let's start with this. For anyone who hasn't seen the agenda yet, what makes this regional training different from just like attending a webinar or watching any of our online courses?
No, that's a great first question. I mean, the big takeaway, of course, it's in person, right? For those of you that have been in the industry for a really long time, either using our legacy software, ESC or FieldEdge, we used to do the regionals all the time. And then, of course, COVID happened. We went to digital. And now that things have kind of waned and we're doing in person again, we're trying to kind of bring back that camaraderie, right? So the in-person regional events allow you to kind of ask questions of myself, my team, and more importantly, your peers. I mean, you can send another colleague or another business owner an email, hope to hear something back, have a question, have like an email back and forth, but nothing beats being there in person. So that's one of the things that make the regional specials. This one specifically is big because over the past year or so, we've been trying to identify like what makes a regional a successful experience, right? Us regurgitating the same thing to you that you would have in a webinar plus company like doesn't equal success, right? So we've wanted to make sure that we offer like unique bespoke experiences while at these regionals. So we have new things like Breakout Labs, where if you want to learn about a specific topic, you'll have a dedicated one-on-one with the trainer to go through those. We have dedicated time to kind of just sit with you, listen about what you've got going on and answer questions. This is a personal thing for me because I'm very like fun and engaging, even though I don't really seem it right now. But we're actively trying to incorporate like fun learning exercises into the software itself and into our event itself, so that not only are you taking away knowledge in a way that you may not have expected it, but you're also kind of just having fun with the people around you. And you normally don't associate fun with regional training events, but we really, really tried to kind of embrace that because it should be an experience and a joy to be at one of these things. And that's what kind of makes it special when looking at it.
If you had to sum it up in like one, maybe two sentences, who do you think would benefit most from coming to the regional training in Atlanta?
Everyone. It used to be when you and I started that the regionals were kind of set events. Right now, with the way the Breakout Labs work, whether you're doing from the basics to the advanced, there will be something for everyone there. And there'll be a trainer for everyone there.
Everybody's business is kind of different in some particular way, even though those Venn diagrams kind of overlap, right? Like with service agreements. Are attendees actually working inside of their actual databases and accounts, or how does that work when they're at the regional?
So we do a mix of both. So we encourage people to follow along with us in regards to things that are so-and-so safe, right? So if you want to know about, hey, this is how you manually job cost something. If you want to follow along in your database, you can follow these steps. If we're talking about service agreements and how the different scheduling tools work, they can absolutely follow along. So I want to say for the core FieldEdge, like the things that make up the backbone of the software, we encourage them to be in their database and follow along. I mentioned before that there's a trainer for everyone in terms of the topics we covered. Previously, we didn't even brush past inventory, for example. We do that now, like full blown, here, let's talk about inventory. For things like that, it's normally in my database or our database because not everyone has access to it. There are specific versions of QuickBooks you need to have for it to be successful. And I don't want people really muddling around in their accounts without being absolutely sure they want to do that. So if it's safe for them to do so, they do it in theirs. If it's something that might be problematic, we do it in mine.
The personalized one-on-one support, what are you looking for them to walk away with?
So the way that we structured this when we went and redid the regionals is you've got the main regional event, right? The bottom of the pyramid. Everyone is involved in that. Then we have the breakout labs. You learn about the things that you want to learn about and don't really sit in on the ones you don't want to. So if you want to learn about inventory, you come with me. If you want to learn about basic jobs and purchasing, you go with Paul or Chris, my colleagues. And then at the end of the day, because that's how we cap off each day, is the one-on-one sessions at the top. So the idea is that throughout the group regional, throughout the breakout sessions, you're thinking, you're having questions. And then by the time we get to the one-on-ones at the end, now you've had a whole day, you're primed, you've got the questions you want to ask, you've seen context about how they want to work. And now we can really just immediately hit the ground running about how these topics and what you're thinking about apply to you, the individual, and your individual business, not as a whole. So that, like, the takeaway there is kind of just like the wind up and the pitch. You spend all day moving towards this point, thinking about your questions, thinking about what this means for your company. And then we finally get to have that one-on-one and we're just like, okay, let's hit it.
So do you have any examples of any contractors, business owners who really stood out to you as like a win?
Yeah. The biggest thing they come back with is they have an understanding where they're getting feedback from their technicians. We'd love to see moments where owners come in, but also with members of their staff, right? So the owner comes in, the office manager comes in, their main dispatcher comes in, right? And they're having discussions as to what workflows are and what's important. Maybe not everyone's on the same page about that. As we go through the system, and even if we're just, buttoning up the little things, understanding how things work, going through processes, seeing the results. Hey, this is how we do work orders, this is how we do efficiency. And then they see the reporting section. It's like, wow, we are in fact not as efficient as we were. Or our favorite, the one that we keep in our back pocket to get engagement is, we run the reports to find out, hey, how many invoices do you have in FieldEdge that aren't in QuickBooks? And people run that report in their database and they see like maybe one, maybe two commas. And then there's just like, what is happening here? But they leave and walk away from perspectives and stuff like that. And that's kind of the big thing I think that they get, that they're stuck on those workflows, is realizing that there are bottlenecks, that even though they think that they may be working as efficiently as they can, it reveals that there are, or maybe parts in their workflow that can be improved upon. And almost every time they are thankful and, dare I say, relieved to know that, hey, this exists and it's not scary because now I know how to work through it. And I think that's important.
If you had to pick a session that you think people will walk away talking about, what would that be?
The two biggest ones, the service agreement session is always a big one because in some way, shape, or form, every industry can lever it in some way, shape, or form. If you think that it can't apply to your industry, then I challenge you to come and learn how it can. The reporting session is also really big, not because of what reports exist in the system, but the ways that you can manipulate them to do what you need them to do. That's always a big one. We do have not one but multiple new features releasing by the time that this regional happens, and it's going to be really neat because it's going to be the first time that we have the opportunity to train on this and see engaged reactions in real time for like brand new features. And that's not something that has happened at any of the regionals that I've been a part of since I started doing this 3,000 hours ago. So I think that's really exciting to be like, hey, this feature's been out for a little over a month. Like, have you heard about it? Do you want to experiment with it? Let's do this together. I'm genuinely excited to go on this adventure with you.
Showing off new features that have never been seen before. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like what
Sure.
features are you guys showing off?
The two main ones that we're going to kind of be discussing and showing are going to be two-way SMS, which again, by the time we have the regional, should be functional and available for a majority of members or in the early parts of the rollout. And what essentially that is, right now you have the ability in the system to send a text message to a customer when you're on the way. Right now, they can't respond back to you, but they will be able to respond back to you. So we're going to be able to show you kind of how that works and then ways to make it feel a bit more personal. Whenever you have any of these automated communication templates, like the one thing you don't want is for them to sound like a robot. So like, hey, these are really cool ways that you can utilize these and still be human about it, right? So that's really exciting. And then another one is the online schedule request, where you'll be able to put a link on your website. They'll be able to click into it, answer some questions that you as the users are able to determine, and then be able to go ahead and send a request to you in FieldEdge so that you can go ahead and get them booked and get them scheduled. They're both really, really cool, and they both open up a lot of unique experiences within the system. Our database particularly has some hidden Easter eggs in it that I can't really talk about yet because we don't have a set release date on them. But if you show up, you'll be able to see some of them. And there are, I can tell you, a lot of really, really cool workflows that are going to be able to come from it. So that'll dangle the mystery in front of you.
For someone on the fence right now, how would you convince them that this is worth the trip?
FieldEdge is a myriad and robust software. There's a lot that goes into it. My team prides itself in living in what I call just like the real world of training and of FieldEdge, where we understand that just because a guide says something doesn't mean it's the only way to do that. And if there are safer, more bespoke workflows that apply to you guys, we're going to show you that. So you could say, hey, I know everything there is to know about invoicing or dispatching agreements within the system. You probably do know everything that there is to know that we provide you. But there's an element that just comes from just pure exposure and being in an onsite or being in a one-on-one call where someone just like throws you a curveball. It's like, all right, we have a problem to solve now. And then once you get it, it's like, I am tucking this experience away for future use. So I'm working on internally kind of an Alex's survival guide to FieldEdge of all the unique workflows I've come around to just navigate the system. Like it's exposure and experience and going back and saying, hey, you thought I was amazing in the system before, just you wait. Like be the office wizard when it comes to FieldEdge. Like that's what you can get from that, right? Is this the experience, the exposure, the understanding, and that's a big portion of it.
A member comes to the regional training, they're now back at their business. What are the next steps to keep the momentum rolling?
The biggest thing to take away is to make sure that you want to continue learning and growing with this. And as long as you want that, me and my team will be here to assist you in that in whatever way that presents itself to you. Anyone that attends the regional is going to receive a discount on any paid training services that apply. So it can be a in-person on-site. If you sit there and say, hey, I loved the energy you guys had, I loved the information you got, I want to share that with my team, you'll receive a discount. We can go on site and we can take everything that we learned here, make it a bit more custom to you and your company there with you on the ground. That's one option. Every company that utilizes FieldEdge has access to myself, my training team, for free hour-long one-on-one sessions. So you can go ahead and say, hey, I'm not sure if I'm really ready to book an on-site yet. Maybe a full day is too much, but there was some really good stuff in there I wish my dispatcher could have heard. No problem. Reach out to us directly. We'll provide you with links while you're on site with us on how to get in contact with us directly, saying, hey, Alex was great. We didn't really dive too much into QuickBooks, but I got some QuickBooks questions. You're going to have a link. You can click it, and that'll book the time directly with me. You'll have access to that.
Thank you, Alex, for coming and chatting with me today.
Thanks very much for having me here. It was a blast.
Alex is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia on April 16th and 17th, Thursday and Friday for our upcoming regional training. So make sure you get tickets for that. Those seats are filling up fast, but there are still some available, and we hope to see you in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Have a wonderful